Okay, Biology 115, I just want to introduce the idea of evolution before the weekend because we've got an exam on this next week. Okay, so, evolution in a nutshell. Skills to master here, we're going to explain some of the general mechanisms and evidence behind evolution, differentiate natural selection and evolution, list the main players in evolutionary thought, and justify or refute the statement, nothing in biology makes sense without the light of evolution. You're going to do that one on your own. Okay, so first off, our man Charles Darwin, when he had just graduated, traveled to South America with a bunch of geologists, and he was himself trained in biology and geography, and he had all of these skills. And so he was a naturalist on this ship, the HMS Beagle. You could totally win at bar trivia if you remember HMS Beagle. But anyway, so he goes down to South America, and everyone's wondering, like, what is the basis of heritability? Why do kids look like their parents and don't look like other people? What is going on? How are these traits passed down? What is going on? And we didn't know about DNA at the time. We had no idea. No idea. So this guy, Charles Darwin, Chucky D, goes down to South America with a bunch of other scientists on what was supposed to be a one-year tour. Took a bit longer than that. Okay, when he's down there, he notices a few interesting facts. There's this animal called the Patagonian cavy, and this animal looks very similar to the English rabbit. The rabbit and the cavy have similar features. They also live in a similar environment. So that's really kind of cool. So the cavy has like the face of a guinea pig, but it's got the body of a rabbit. So Charles Darwin was thinking like, it doesn't really have a rabbit face, it has a guinea pig face. And there's lots of guinea pigs around here. There's no guinea pigs in England. I wonder if they could be maybe related. How would that work? So, and also, it's living in a similar environment to the rabbits in England. So, does it have these features because of this environment? Questions, questions. Charles Darwin also noted that the environment, wherever he went, he saw differences in organisms based on different environments. So, for example, main example here are his finches, also the turtles. So, in the Galapagos Islands, on the opposite side of South America, opposite of Cuba, so it's on the, if you're looking at a map, the left side. So the west side, there we go, west side, Galapagos Islands. So we see he was looking at the finches, and he was actually the one to realize that all these different birds that look so insanely different are actually all finches, very similar to the finches that we see in England. So that's what he has to compare it to. And so they're able to look at the finches in England and the finches on the Galapagos. And then he was able to look at these turtles on these different islands, and he noticed that they have different size shells and different lengths of neck and different adaptations depending on what they eat. So the finches, he's able to compare to English finches, and they have different beaks. They have different beaks and different feathers. And the turtles have different necks, and this is all based on these different environments. And he noticed that the finches with small needle-like noses, beaks, would eat the small seeds, and there's some with big beaks, they ate big seeds. But because they're so similar, and the environments are different, Darwin started to realize that the environment must play some role in selecting certain traits. And so that idea is called natural selection. And that's the idea that these different environments cause certain organisms to survive better if they have certain traits, and other organisms cannot survive without these same traits. And so natural selection is really founded on random mutations. So these random mutations create randomly good or randomly bad traits, and the good traits get selected for in these different environments, and those organisms survive better. And those without those same traits, they don't maybe eat enough berries to have a bunch of babies. The other ones that can eat more berries because they have the special beak are able to have more babies that will then carry those same genes, those same mutations, and so on and so forth. And so after thousands and thousands of years, then we're able to see all of these differences. So Darwin hypothesized that we wouldn't actually see evolution in our lifetime, but that is not true. So when we get, and we already talked about this, when we talked about artificial selection, that's when we are breeding for traits that we want, and this is good evidence of evolution. So we can breed, for example, dogs for traits that we want, and we can see that within a couple generations. Other evidence includes drug-resistant bacteria like MRSA. Those evolve because their generation times are very short. They can evolve within 20 years. They can evolve resistance to different antibiotics within years. So that's evolution that we can actually see. Other evidence, evidence with a line, evidence here would be fossils. The fossil records, we can see organisms like the fishapod that has part fish traits and then part lizard traits. So those are called transitional fossils, and so that shows us how these traits might have developed over time. It's not perfect immediately. It develops over time based on the environment. Like maybe this fish that had this foot could get more food somehow or fend off predators better, so it survived better. Also homology, and we're going to talk about homology a little bit more later. We can see homology within bones of different animals. For example, bat wings share the same bones as human arms. So that's evidence that they developed from a common ancestor, the same number of bones in the same positions. We'll talk more about that in class. And then also this idea of biogeography, and that is what Darwin actually observed. So we're looking at life, bio, in different environments, geography, and we can see different traits occur in different environments. And so that is really the basis and the evidence of evolution. So I think that's a really good sort of warm-up. Oops. So one more thing that I forgot to talk about, the difference between evolution and natural selection. So natural selection powers evolution. So the different environments and mutations power natural selection. So that's really how it goes. Natural selection is the basis of evolution, and evolution is the idea of a change in a population over time. Okay. So individuals are acted on by mutations, and the environment selects against them, and then the population evolves over time. Okay, that's it. That's really it.